They greatly fear and reverence the Tikbalang or Bibit. This is a ghost, goblin, or devil, and as it knows the cowardice of these Indians, it has been wont to appear to them in the mountains, now in the guise of an old man, telling them that he is their nono, now as a horse, and now as a monster. Father Juan de Plasencia, Customs of the Tagalogs, 1589. For centuries, our ancestors crafted together pieces and stories of folklores to drive away uncertainty of the future, long before the arrival of colonization. From age-old beliefs of Kapre and duendes to the white ladies of Balete Drive, these stories have kept the innocent minds of children preoccupied in an attempt to make them behave and stay at home. In this video, we will dive deeper into the cultural origins as well as some known beliefs with one of the Filipinos' folklore beings, the Tikbalang. The Tikbalang, sometimes written as Tikbalang, Tikbalan, or Tikbalan, is a giant humanoid horse creature with a head of a horse and a body of a muscular human. They are tall beings, usually 8 feet in height, covered in dark fluffy mane, alongside a lighter colored fur. They are bipedal creatures, meaning they walk on their 2 back feet instead of on 4s, as you would expect with a horse. In their mouth depicts a visually uncomforting bad teeth protruding, which is said to disappear entirely when they laugh. They have exceedingly long legs covered in dark horsehair that is only noticeable when seated, at which point their knees conceal their head in perspective. It is also believed they possess a magical charm called mutya, or stone of the banana flower, a charm that could grant wishes if a human gets their hands into. Tikbalangs are believed to inhabit the quiet confines of deep forests, away from the ruckus of human living. They prefer a quiet place where they can endeavor in tranquility. They are generally benevolent creatures and would just stay away from anything to not hamper their peace. They are believed to have the ability to transform their appearance, such as the default horseman hybrid appearance, to an old man some would refer to as a nuno sa punso. In some extreme cases, there have been stories of them appearing as an actual human, taking into appearance of a close relative or a friend of the human they want to either hunt or befriend. There were also accounts of Tikbalang smoking huge tobacco cigars, just like the Kapre, emanating smoke as thick as something that a chimney can eject. From where the word originated is still unknown, and it might be indigenous in nature, but the concept of a horseman has been believed to root from many cultural beliefs from other nations, adapted and nurtured by the Filipinos, as centuries of colonization gave access to influence from other cultures. It is important to take note that the term used is adapted, since as documentations from early Spanish conquistadors are proven, there had been traces of belief of a being known as Tikbalang long before they came. This was a belief that has its roots from animism, a belief that all things in this world, living or inanimate, possess a distinct spiritual essence and consciousness. The reference for the Tikbalang came from the god Hayagriva, the god of knowledge and wisdom. The term came originally from 2 Sanskrit words, Haya meaning horse, and Griva meaning neck. While he is widely perceived as a Hindu deity, there had been multiple iterations of him across Asian cultures. Hayagriva is sometimes called Haya Sirsa. Haya meaning horse and Sirsa meaning head. In Hinduism, he is a powerful avatar of Vishnu, depicted as a human with a horse head, brilliant white in color, wearing white garments, and seated in a white lotus flower. On his right hand is a rosary, signifying his connection with meditative knowledge, while on his left hand is a book, indicating his prominence as a teacher. He is referred to in various nicknames such as Horse-Necked One, the Terrible Executioner, Defender of Faith, and Aerial Horse. Worship of the deity Hayagriva dated back to as old as 2000 BCE, when people started worshipping horses for their speed, strength, and intelligence. In Chinese Buddhism, Hayagriva is believed to be one of the theriomorphic guardians of the underworld. Better known as Horseface, he alongside with Oxhead are the two guardians of the underworld DU, the realm of the dead. Their primary objective as guardians of the underworld is act as messengers for Yan Lo Wang, the ruler of DU, and capture human souls that are on the end of their earthly existence. They bring these souls to the course of hell and then judge based on actions they've done in their lifetime. In Japanese Buddhism, Hayagriva is known to be a form of Avalokiteshvara. Avalokiteshvara, a Sanskrit conjoined term meaning a lord who looks down upon the world, is a being of bodhisattva that embodies the compassion of all Buddhas. Bodhisattva, or bosatsu in Japanese, are beings that have delayed their nirvana ascension in order to help the poor and needy. She is better known to the Japanese culture as Kanzeon or Kannon, a deity into which branches outward into many forms. Of the 32 various forms of the Kannon, the Bato Kannon is the most relevant deity in relation to the Tikbalang, depicted as wearing a horse head on top of their head. As all Buddhas are portrayed as calm and in trance, the Bato Kannon is the only fierce-looking bodhisattva amongst them, and she is believed to eliminate lack of wisdom, earthly desires, and evil curses. They are also the guardians of horses and other animals due to their persona, and known to rule over the animal kingdom. With the image of the god Hayagriva being embedded in the culture of ancient society, coupled with additional representations from other Asian cultures, the concept of the Tikbalang continued to evolve with the discovery of the Vadavamuka statue. In Cambodian lore, Vadavamuka is a more radical version of Vishnu, depicted as a man with the head of a horse. Not much is ventured into who or what exactly Vadavamuka is, other than he is an iteration of Vishnu, but far more indifferent than how others perceive their other known deities. Tikbalang are tricksters, just like Duende and Kapre, as we have documented in our other videos. Their pastime involves disorienting travelers who pass by their dwellings without a proper incantation. The phrase "tabi-tabi po, nakikiraan lang po" has become a common gesture of pleasing these mystical creatures so as to avoid conflict. Other than that, turning your shirt inside out is another way of countering their enchantment. They are not known to hurt humans unless well enough provoked, and provoking usually involves some form of rampant disrespect to both their existence and their kingdom. Perhaps the most common superstition is the idea that a tikbalang is getting married. May kinakasal na tikbalang, as Filipinos would say, when rain starts pouring down in the midst of a hot sunny day. This weather phenomenon is called in the scientific world as a sun shower, a weather condition where the sun is visibly shining and raindrops are blown off by accompanying winds from an area where it rains to an area where there's none. This has been popularly connected to the Spanish saying that a witch is getting married during the same circumstances but this belief has been a staple throughout cultures, each with their own version. Mainly this involves a trickster in nature, be it a mystical being or an animal that happens to do something out of the ordinary, an idea that colludes well on the rarity of occurrence of the sun shower itself. Some examples of these iterations include the devil is beating his wife in America, a fox is getting married in Japan, and a wolf is getting married in France. Another common superstition is that a tikbalang has a mane made up of sharp spines, 3 of which are the thickest among. Tikbalangs are believed to be tameable, but only after surpassing the most strenuous of conditions. If one was to tame a tikbalang, the 3 thickest spines on its neck is a key to the creature's submission, and a magically enchanted rope is needed to even bind one. If a human manages to grab possession on any of these 3 spines, the tikbalang will be that human's servant for as long as it is in his possession or until they die. Tikbalangs will succumb to every wish or order you have given him. A word of warning presents itself beforehand, as one tikbalang wouldn't be so easy to submit nor give the spine without aggression. It is believed that if a human somehow manages to ride on its back, a grueling fight will ensue where the tikbalang will firstly take flight in an attempt to dislodge the rider. If not successful enough, the human rider will then be taken and flown to several mystical realms in an attempt to disorient and eventually dislodge him again from its back. This gruesome exchange will last for minutes, probably hours, until the tikbalang submits itself in its exhaustion, paving the way for the human rider to effortlessly pluck the spine out of its mane and gain control over its mystical powers and service. There are some known beliefs which seems to contrast the rather portrayed benevolent nature of the tikbalang. One lesser-known story includes ambushing travelers, mostly those who they already have disoriented, by bludgeoning them with their hooves. Another rather deadly portrayal of them is when you smell a nauseous stench of burning hair with no clear indication where it is coming from. It is a deadly signal that a tikbalang is near and is ready to strike down a human anytime. In far less known versions of the lore, the tikbalang is believed to be a transformation of an unborn fetus sent back from limbo to exalt revenge. It is important to note though that this idea does not collude well to the belief that they are benevolent beings. The concept of an unborn fetus also draws much more resemblance to the other known Filipino folklore being the tiyanak. Benevolent creatures as they may be portrayed in culture, it is again important to consider that these are malicious beings well beyond our normal psyche. A single act of oppression or disrespect, regardless of being intentional or not, will invite frightening repercussions to a human, both physically and psychologically. This is why such cliches are observed when people have a feeling that they are dealing with them, which probably gave rise to us Filipinos being over-superstitious. The expansion of the global trade routes in the last few centuries gave way for the evolving concept of the tikbalang in Filipino culture. Little by little, every piece of ability, these beings have added a portion of a puzzle encompassing a figure of how we perceive these beings and how we eventually tell them as those stories to our children and grandchildren.